and welcome back to A Brighter Day TV. My name is Michael Hurwitz, and I'm the Senior Executive Director of A Brighter Day. And today we have with us Mr. Tom Tamura, the Executive Director from the Contra Costa Crisis Center. Tom, welcome to A Brighter Day TV.
Hey, thanks, Michael. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's great to have you. I've known you now for about a short period, maybe about 7 months, and we've met on multiple occasions. And I want to say that I'm thrilled with what you do in the organization. And could you take a second and just tell our audience a little bit about Tom and a little bit about Crisis Center?
Great. As you mentioned, I'm the executive director. I've been there for about 2.5 years. And we're located in Walnut Creek. The agency's been around for over 50 years. It started off as a couple volunteers in a garage answering crisis calls for the county. And since then, it's just gone through many iterations to the place we are now. Some of the big hats that we wear, we manage the information and resource directory for the county. So that's by calling 211, folks are able to get information about health and social services programs in the county. And that service is provided 24/7. Also, on the same number by 211, you can reach our counselors that provide grief counseling and also crisis and suicide prevention calls. We answer regional, local, and national suicide prevention calls and are part of the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline Network.
Wow, so that's a lot of responsibilities under one umbrella.
Yeah, we have a lot of great volunteers and staff members. We have, I think right now we have over 70 volunteers that are part of our call center that are trained and are answering all those calls on a daily basis. So
that's fantastic. You know, after having met you the first couple of times and spoken with some of your staff, I actually went through the volunteer training myself.
Oh,
and it's a really extensive training, and it really gave me a lot of insight. You guys do a great job there.
That's great. I'm glad you did that.
There's some history with A Brighter Day charity and Crisis Center. Could you talk a little bit about how we are connected in some ways and how we maybe help each other a little bit?
Sure. Gosh, I think early on when I first started in my role, Elliot Callan came by, the founder, and he said that he wanted to talk more about A Brighter Day and what we do and see if there's a way to collaborate. So I'm always excited to find collaborations with whomever's interested. And so we got talking, and he was telling me about the band showcases and some of the reasons why the program was started. But we just started brainstorming, figuring out ways of trying to get the word out about the program, and then also being able to let people know about the services we provide as a resource for youth and families.
Right.
So,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We do that not only at our events, but also on our website at www.abrighterday.info, where we refer people to Crisis Center who are in need of information or support. Yeah, absolutely. So
when he first came, we spent time, through the brainstorming process. We were able to do some outreach. We met with a county supervisor's team. We met with some school district folks, just trying to get the word out and seeing if we could have a showcase in their districts and in their communities. Elliot's also been a guest speaker presenter. I invited him to present at our suicide prevention committee meetings that meet once a month. I co-facilitate that meeting with county mental health person. And so Elliot came out and was able to tell our group about A Brighter Day, and so everybody there was interested to hear another resource for kids that are dealing with anxiety and stress. So those are the things that we've been working on. And of course, the pandemic put a big block on a lot of things that we've been trying to do. But those are the things we were working on before, within the last few months.
Yeah, and since you and I have met, we've met a couple of times and also looked at expanding our reach mutually with some other, even national organizations. So it looks like the future is a brighter day, and
sure.
We'll be able to do some things together once the pandemic calms down and we can start to implement some of the things we've been working on. You know, you mentioned the pandemic and what has changed in the last 4 or 5 months? What has changed for Crisis Center? What's changed for the public?
Yeah, I mean, I think that I think it's been a few months now. I think in the beginning, everyone was in shock. I think that that was the basic feeling that we're getting from the callers that were calling in. In the beginning, the majority of our calls, or many of calls, were coming in around questions about COVID-19 and resources that were available around testing and questions around symptomology and those kinds of things. The three reasons people call our calls for the most, besides crisis and suicide prevention, are homelessness, food insecurities, and mental health issues. So those things continue to be the main reasons people are calling. But in the last couple of months, we've seen about a 20% increase to the calls to the call center, and those are that encompasses anybody that calls, including youth. But and so people are calling anxious, and issues around economic security. And it ebb and flows a little bit about why people are calling, depending on what's changing. There was a moratorium on evictions in our county, which is soon to end. And so people are getting anxious about that. So we're experiencing an increase in calls around issues related to staying in their homes. And so clearly, whether or not it's the youth that are calling, those types of issues are impacting the family systems. And so, very real problems and challenges for families, and they're impacting kids. And so, and we also found that even though statistically at the kind of the higher end emergency services for youth, those numbers actually went down during the first couple months of the pandemic. And trying to figure out partners that we have in the region, other crisis centers, trying to figure out why the numbers would go down. I think it's antithetical to what you would think would happen. But we really believe that there was just less access for youth and for families, whether it's churches or schools or whatever.
Physical separation.
Yeah, it just made it harder to get the supports that you needed. And so we're pretty sure now that as the calls are increasing for people that are feeling isolated and anxious, that we're really starting to see the impact of people being separated from their natural supports.
And are there changes in particular that you're seeing to youth other than what you talked about, or is that kind of the overall effect?
Yeah, I mean, I think I think it's a give and take. School is a major stressor for kids, and so it's generally every year that during summer vacation, crisis calls and different programs that I've worked with over the years, calls for youth and families go down in the summer. There isn't the stress that's involved with getting to school on time and grades and all that. And I think that there was a time period where that was probably manifesting itself in the decrease in the calls to our center and other facilities and organizations and services that like ours. But I think now that as it lingers on, and I think that the impact now you're really starting to see is that the kids are really starting to are more and more needing more help.
Yeah, we're seeing that with our interaction with community centers, with schools, with even individual youth. That at first there was the shock of, okay, I'm out of school and I'm having to school from home, right?
That's right.
Well, now it's summertime and they're hearing, okay, schools are opening in August. No, schools are opening in September. No, maybe they don't know. And
Yeah.
it's a moving target, and we're hearing that there's a lot of stress and anxiety over whether or not they're going to be able to go back to school, or whether
Right.
they're going to school at home, and how that affects the family unit.
Yeah, I think that's all really true. And as I mentioned, or we talked about earlier, is as families are finding it more difficult to make ends meet, and some people are in dire straits. The ones having problems before making ends meet, or those issues have compounded in the last couple of months. And so we have estimates or 18 months to 2 years of trying to get to a place where people are back on their feet. So it's going to be really tough times for all of us.
We talked about the problems that people are having, but how can they reach out? How can they get help? What is provided by the Crisis Center that is a resource for them, whether it's an a friendly ear to listen to their problems, or whether it's directly involving some specific help and resources for the people that reach in. So how can they get help? What can they expect?
Well, everyone can call 211 or 800-833-2900. You can call either of those two numbers 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to reach somebody live that can talk to you about, just like you said, a friendly ear, but also to get you connected with resources in the community that can help whatever specific issue you might have. I mentioned the three top ones, but just about anything that you can think of that you may need to get through this time or any time. We have over 1,600 programs that are represented in our resource database, and that's about 650 agencies that those resources and programs come from. And you can also, for youth in particular, we have a texting option. They can text HOPE to 20121, and so that might be a little easier way for some from our younger folks to be able to contact somebody and be able to get somebody live.
Well, we really appreciate the fine work that you folks do there. I know that it's a tough job, and it's one that reaches a large segment of our population. And it's not just people who are having stress over financial issues. It can be covering all gamuts of society. So we really appreciate the work you do, and we appreciate the partnership that we have. We're being able to work and refer to your organization. It's a powerful tool. So thank you for that.
Yeah, I appreciate all that you guys are doing, and being able to have some of our outreach materials available at your band showcases that have been going on in the county. Just getting people in touch with us I think is a big help. So I really appreciate you as well.
Thank you. Is there anything that I didn't touch on or ask you about today that you'd like to mention to our audience?
No, but actually I didn't mention that we also provide grief counseling. That's part of our another program that we offer. And so we have been doing grief counseling that is provided by volunteers, trained volunteers, and we've been doing that for decades. And so we're accredited through the American Association of Suicidology and do a survivors of suicide loss group, amongst others, including a group for parents that have lost their kids, their spouses or significant others. And so, and we also provide post-mention services. And what that is we have trained staff and volunteers that go into the community and schools after an organization experiences a traumatic loss. Unfortunately, it could be suicide, an accident, or illness and the group feels that it needs an outside source to be able to bring in some support and some counseling. And last year alone, we go out about once or twice a month, and fortunately we're available, but unfortunately went out to over a dozen schools last year alone. So we're proud to provide that service, and that's something that anybody out there, if you own a small business and you lost somebody in your team and you felt like you wanted somebody to come out and spend some time with, kind of support and supportive role, and you just call 211 and get that information. I
imagine COVID is also added to that workload.
Yeah. It's just much harder now doing, Zoom we're lucky to have it, but it's just, it's an adjustment to not have things in person. So it's been a real adjustment for everyone.
Well, I thank you again for all your hard work and the services you provide there at Crisis Center.
Thank you, Michael.
And I want to thank all our audience for watching. Again, my name is Michael Hurwitz with A Brighter Day. Thank you for watching A Brighter Day TV. We'll be back with another guest real soon. Bye now. Bye, Tom.
See you later.